Chad Elliott is on the phone with us. Chad plays the wonderful Capitol Theater here in Burlington coming up on Friday night with Bronson Hermith. And Chad, have you played Burlington's Capitol Theater before?
Yes, actually, the last time I was there, it was probably about 5 years ago with Bronson, actually. It was a great time. So we're looking forward to doing it again.
Was that kind of planned? Like, hey, if we're going to do the Capitol, we might as well do it as pals like we did before?
Yeah, I think Bronson kind of spearheaded it this time, and he was going to be back in the area because he's down in Nashville, obviously, and so he was like, I'm going to be back in the area for a little bit. Let's do a concert together. So,
Chad, I got to tell you, woke up Sunday morning, and my wife was up visiting some friends up near Chicago, and so I spent the morning with the 2015 release, Wreck and Ruin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cup of coffee, and I'm like, I'm going to listen to some Chad Elliott now. And enjoyed it very much, brother.
Oh, well, thanks. Bronson made it into the studio for that one. I was down in Nashville recording that one.
Well, you got, there's 16 studio albums, Chad, so do you revisit much?
You know, I try and start cycling back, and depending on who's in the audience, they'll ask for certain songs. So I have to kind of keep it always fresh on my mind. I go through songs, and Wreck and Ruin, I play several off there frequently because there's some of my favorite songs on that album. But it's a constant flow of writing and remembering.
Yeah.
So,
Chad Elliott is on the phone with us, not just a singer-songwriter, a painter, an illustrator, a poet. The music's in the folk, blues, rock, soul, Americana area, kind of goes all over. What came first, the paintbrush or the guitar?
The paintbrush. Actually, I thought I was going to be an art professor, and I was in college, and my roommate happened to have a guitar in the corner, and I thought, I've always wanted to learn, so I just picked it up and started to teach myself, and it kind of derailed my chances ever going to be a college professor. I wanted to hit the road.
There's always a roommate with a guitar in the corner, isn't there, Chad?
That's exactly a dusty old guitar.
Did he play? Was he accomplished at it at all, or he's like, yeah, go ahead, I don't play it?
Yeah, he could play a little bit, and he showed me a little bit of blues, but he was more of a saxophone player. He played jazz saxophone, so he taught me a lot about music and in general, but then I kind of pushed past his skills on the guitar pretty fast.
Yeah, so that was the first time?
Yeah, it was 19, and I obsessed about it. I played 8 hours a day when I first started teaching myself in the summertime between my freshman and sophomore year in college. And shortly after, I started writing songs, and that took hold, and I became obsessed about just the idea of writing my own original songs. And since then, I've written over 2,000 songs. It's just constantly trying to write.
Yeah. Were there instruments before that, Chad? Was there piano when you were little?
Not piano, but I took violin for a couple of years when I was really little, 5 to 7 years old. I took violin, and then trombone. I was in marching band and all that in high school and middle school, but none of those suited me. I felt like the guitar was the perfect fit for what I do. So,
yeah. But your first love was the paintbrush, and you haven't stopped that. Your paintings are you're drawn to them. I mean, I don't know if you put your stuff on vinyl or not, but when I was a kid, I looked at my dad's vinyl like comic books. I mean, that was my comic books. Sometimes I couldn't get past the covers,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to get back. Well, I'm hoping to get a vinyl out someday, because I think, man, that's the perfect format for what I do as an artist as well as a songwriter. So that's in the future for sure.
Yeah. Well, you do spend a lot of time on your covers, and that makes sense that you kind of own them, and either the photos or the covers, that's all you, right?
Yeah, mostly. Like the Wreck and Ruin was a friend of mine, Roger. He went down to Nashville, and he's kind of a great music photographer, but there's certain artists that I'll pick sometimes. But the next album I'm putting out is my own original painting, and a lot of them are original art. Yeah.
What do you attribute? Is there an artist you attribute your love of it? Was it mom, dad? Was it grandma and grandpa? Was it an uncle? Who was it?
My aunt is a great artist, and she took me under her wing when I was really little. I was 5, and I said, I think I want to be an artist. And she was like, yes. So she kind of took me to her. She was in college, so she'd take me to her college workshops and stuff. And like, it was pretty cool as a little kid, just being around that kind of creative energy. And it was also, just the arts in general. My family was very supportive of it. My mom is a great writer as well as an English teacher. She was when I was growing up. So I felt like I was always supported to kind of go a different path than most of my classmates.
Yeah. Chad Elliott plays with Bronson Hermit, an old buddy, at the Capitol Theater Friday at 7:30. You guys are going to play a little bit together and do your own sets, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, looking forward to he's just this phenomenal harmonica player and fiddle player, so he's going to add to my stuff, and hopefully I can add to his. I'm not the best lead guitarist, but I can definitely throw in a few licks for his songs too, so...
That's so great. Today I got back in the studio and I was just switching back and forth between albums on iTunes and found Humbled at My Door and drawn in by the artwork, of course.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I don't know when the last time you checked that one out, but that was 2006.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Minnesota, I can't even tell where you're from originally because there's one album where the first 2 songs you talk about Nevada.
Yes.
Yeah. Minnesota kicks off Humbled at My Door, and that line way up in the Minnesota, way up in Minnesota where the stars are frozen bright. I thought that was it. It took me to Minnesota with that line. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like all these years of traveling, I've fell in love with so many different places, and I've lived a lot of different places throughout, mostly Western U.S. But, this next album I'm working on has a lot of New Mexico references because I've spent some time down there, and I just love it down there. And so I've kind of thrown that in. But it's I find that they come in waves, these songs, thematically. They kind of work together with different regions, which is kind of neat to look back on. It's like a journal, a travel log.
Yeah. And there's no record company pushing you. Well, I got to put out another album. You do it when you feel like, hey, I've got a pocket full of songs. It's time.
Yes. Yeah. And whether I can convince people to crowdfund for me.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely a creative act. It's like whenever I feel the need to put out some more music, I can do it whenever. So.
If you want to check out some before you go to the show on I'm sure all formats, just type in Chad Elliott. Last album, Singing River, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I went down to Muscle Shoals for that one. Yeah.
Was that a dream? Was that a dream to do that?
That was a dream come true. Yeah, it's like my dream team. I had Bo Ramsey come down with me, and he's one of my favorite guitarists. And then we had 2 of the original Swampers from
wow.
Muscle Shoals sessions in Fame Studios, where it's all started, that Muscle Shoals sound thing.
That's so great.
It was like pinch me.
Yeah. And you were pretty happy with the results.
Yeah, I love it. I love that album. I'm very proud of it. And it was a lot of kind of rescheduling. It was during COVID that we were trying to do it. We were supposed to go down in March of 2020 to record it, and we had to push it back. And so when we finally got in the studio, it felt really good to just be there making music with this dream team. So.
And much like the Muscle Show sessions, how about the Sun Studio? Was that, again, like, okay, I'm going to do this too?
Yeah. These are like my bucket list studios. I like all the history of the rock and roll, and I just was in heaven. And when we did Sun Studio, it was even more intense. We go on they say, come early. You can go on the tour right before you record.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We go hear all the history. you kind of get a little bit of the nerves start working against you right before you go to record there, because you're just taking in the fact that you're recording in this place of the history and rock and roll history.
That's so wonderful.
Amazing. Yeah.
Chad, when did it come to a point where you were like, you know what, my whole life, my art, my painting, my guitar playing, my singing and songwriting, this is my life. I don't have to have a real job. Was there, or has it always been that way? Have you been lucky enough that it's always been that way?
I've been pretty lucky early on. I was in my 20s, and after college, I did whatever I could to make a living, but also keep doing this. And I was, an art major in college. So the initial plan was to go to grad school, and I did end up going to grad school, but it was really there that I said, this isn't for me. And all my professors were also musicians, and so they understood. They go, you need to just go hit the road.
Yeah.
And so they gave me a good kind of kick in the pants to kind of leave. And so when I just decided, I'm saying, there's no turning back now. I'm just going to make a life of this, creative life that I can kind of piece together. And my wife has helped me along the way. She helps manage everything. And so I've kind of lucked out with everything.
Yeah, yep. And then I bet it's woven into the offspring too. I'm sure they're picking some up too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. My oldest he just moved back to Iowa, and he lives here in Jefferson as well. And he's a theater kid, but he's a great singer, and so he doesn't fall far from the tree.
That's wonderful, yeah. Can we talk at Elliott Art Studio in Jefferson, Iowa? Not open all the time, but when do you let people know, hey, we're open, come see artwork, come do art and be a part of it, or come see a show?
Well, we just kind of keep it mostly online, and then downtown I'll put out the sign, I'll put out a sandwich board saying, hey, I'm open today.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like right now, I'm down at the studio. I was open, and then I was like, well, I don't want anybody disturbing this interview, so I just shut down the studio a little bit. So
that's so great.
It's pretty free form. So
Chad Elliott's on the phone, and if you check out his art and you check out his music, you want to be a part of that. Just about 189 miles from Burlington, you can go to Jefferson, Iowa, and check out LA Art Studio, or check it out online first. Chad, I can't let you go without talking about, because some people might be interested. You're taking people to Scotland.
Yeah, in July. I'm really excited to be invited. It was crazy. I was actually going on a family trip in Africa last year in the summer.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just a safari. And as we were flying over Scotland, I just said, that's my next destination. I want to go there next summer. And while we were in Africa, I got an email, hey, you want to be a part of this Scotland folk tours? So they basically ask folk musicians to bring some fans over to Scotland, and they have Scottish guides that take you around the countryside. And
oh my goodness!
I play songs, and yeah,
never been there.
A good group. No, I hadn't. I'd never been, and I've always wanted to. The Elliott clan was one of the Borderland clans, so I'm going to go see the castle that was part of the Elliott clan.
Yeah. If you've got a connection to that Scotland folk tours, other people could go. Someone listening right now could go along, right?
Absolutely. We're still looking for about 10 people. So if you're interested to see in Scotland, and we'll see the landscape, the castles, pubs, and the music and poetry and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
you'll break out the guitar whenever you can.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's so great. If you want to see the man we're talking to, and if you're interested, Chad Elliott plays with his buddy Bronson Hermith, coming up 7:30 at the beautiful Capitol Theater on a Friday night. And Chad, thanks for carving a little bit of time out with us today. So appreciate it.
Thank you, Eric. Yeah, hope to meet you sometime.
Yeah. Have a great day, and have a great show on Friday night.
All right, thanks.
Take care.
Right, bye-bye.